talk about someone we talk about a lot here and the environment that he created. You know, what was your reaction to Eddie Jones being fired? And it didn't seem like you guys necessarily always saw eye to eye. And actually, I think you were recently relatively critical of the environment that he creates.
What did I say that was critical of his environment?
Again, that there were the way he treats and punishes players and blaming the private school system for the failings, those sort of things.
So again, that's just a blame culture, isn't it? He's trying to blame outside. And, you know, obviously me and Eddie, you know, I think he felt I can't speak for what he felt, but what I can say is I wasn't given an opportunity within that environment because I think he felt I was too much of a risk or whatever it was. But that's me speaking for him, so I don't know. But the environment he ran is very conformist. It is very much that way. There is no leaders within the group because if you speak up against Eddie, you're not seen to be doing what he wants, and it's the way it is. How can you have a free voice if what you say has to sound good to him? Do you know what I'm saying? It has to be free. That is not how Steve Kerr, Phil Jackson, Pep Guardiola coach. They don't do that. A commentator, a journalist asked Pep Guardiola about a pass Kevin De Bruyne made and said, do you tell him to do that? Did you make him to do that? He starts laughing and he was like, no, you know, I give them the freedom, I give them the structure within place, and within that, what they do is up to them. But the reason why they press so hard, in my eyes, is because they are free. They are free to express themselves. When you feel joyous and happy and free, you don't get tired. You don't get lactic acid. When you're a child running around, when you're running around playing sevens with your mates in the park or you're playing football on a Monday night, you don't really get tired when you're free just having fun. But when you make people have to deliver a message or have to do what you're being told, it feels strenuous, it feels tiring, it can feel draining. So what I'm trying to say there is I've gone a long way around it, is Eddie's environment for me wasn't that free, and it was apparent with the way they played.
I imagine that environment being, you say what you say, but as long as it sits in his rules and it keeps him happy. I can imagine it. It's like almost like a bully.
But yeah, he's a very
like,
successful coach. But he's a very successful coach.
As long as it keeps him happy.
He's a very successful coach.
True.
So this is
the recent
this is the balance within
the amount of stuff that came out about some of the people in that.
Percentage-wise, if people go on the stats, percentage-wise, he was a very successful coach. There's examples within our sport that if you play one way, you can still win championships or even World Cups. Like, look at South Africa, the way they play rugby. They play an abrasive, aggressive style. You know exactly what's coming. On the day, sometimes you can defend it or not, right? But you can't watch that and try and emulate it, which is a lot of coaches do within the sport. They watch a team, then try and emulate it. But what's behind South Africa is the passion, the desire, the togetherness, like stuff that as a culture we can't create because of where they're from.
Yeah, so as a club coach, he would be terrible.
Potentially, I don't know.
I don't know. I can tell you.
I don't think he's a terrible. I don't think he has a massive game understanding of the game, like attacking rugby of the game. But I think he has a very good skill set of making people come together and feel like it's us against the world. Like some of the performances, like away in Australia, in the World Cup, there was a real like abrasive stature to that England team. They weren't, there was a real kind of style with it, and whether that's right or wrong or good or bad or wins or losses, that's his style. That's what he does. I'm just saying, if we have more coaches like Scott Robertson within the game, we'll get participation up. We'll get more money within the game. So if you're a coach or a player, what's your responsibility?
When did you feel, in your career was that time that you could be yourself and it was less conformist and you were happy and you were doing the joyful things that you love to do?
On the field, I've always done that. It's just the only way I knew how to operate. There's definitely times that I've been refining that decision making, like throughout my career, obviously.
But what clubs did you feel that you're most where you're like, fuck yeah, I can do what I want?
Well, when I started at Wasps, it wasn't like it was a massive freedom to my game, but Sean gave me the personal freedom of like, when you get the ball.
When you say Sean, sorry,
Sean Edwards, yeah, like, you know, do what you got to do. Like, but he gave me good cues and feels and understandings. You know, I hadn't played fullback before. And so he threw me in at fullback because of Margot Wells, had a bit of speed. Hey, thank you, Margot.
She's her phone's going to be off the hook.
Yeah, trust me.
Fucking too right. Hey, you know, I'm the second fastest player still at 33 years old in the Glasgow squad over 10 metres. And then it's fucked after that.
Yeah, but still, there you go. 10's all you need.
10's all you need.
We'll get that out there, mate. We'll get that out there. Keep that going.
What was I saying? Yeah, Wasps was great.
You relaxed and fucking felt like you could do what you want.
At Wasps, I was probably my most relaxed because I was fresh. And my first stint at Wasps, I was fresh into rugby without any ideas of what's going on or nothing from the outside. I was just this confident kid. Everywhere I went, I was just, you know, there's people would say he's a great rugby player. So obviously with that came a certain confidence and a freedom to me, which I naturally had.
Dom Warlock outside you at 12.
Dom outside me at 12.
Your old mate out there.
Yeah, we had a hell of a team. I did feel that in that way, but then everything changed. Like it became, you know, the reason why you get into the sport, it changes over time because you have outside expectation, you're trying to get success, then you have failure, then you get feelings from that and how it makes you feel, and you've then got to process that, and your desires then aren't really the same as why you got into the game. You're then trying to prove a point, or you're trying to get to the top, or your ego's leading the way. And I, you know, as much as I was free on the field, I was definitely, you know, affected by lots of those things.
Where did you go after Wasps?
I went to Melbourne because I had paparazzi sitting outside my house for like 9 months straight all the time. And I'd play a good game on the weekend, and before they started, before I got injured, it was, if I had a good game, they would say I had a great game. If I had a good game after my injury, it seemed like they would say I had a bad game. It just felt like the change in the tide or the way they spoke about me. And I was like, I felt quite claustrophobic at the time, so I wanted to go to Australia and get away, so I went to Australia,
but
Melbourne.
With the paparazzi stuff, you don't hear of like Owen Farrell and Marcus Smith saying, "Oh, I've got paparazzi sat outside the house." Yeah. I'm guessing you led a bit of a different lifestyle, didn't you? I'm guessing the Marcus Smith might lead, but
what was that off the back of?
Kelly Brook.
Do you know what? Like from 16, they started writing about me, right? And then
big
I started playing. I played for Wasps at 17. I'm training at England camps with Andy Robinson and so on at 17, 18. I'm just there and then I'm playing for it. I start playing for England at a young age, and then I meant to play 1 week, and I get dropped for a controversial reason. I'm on the front page of newspapers, and then
that was that nightclub.
It just started spinning. Yeah, it
What
wasn't
was
like
that, honestly, because the whole thing. Surely now you can reflect and be like, source of bollocks. You sort of left at what, 12:30 a club, and like
it was before that. It was before 12. I wasn't drinking. It was a Wednesday. We had Thursday off. Yeah, it's all kind of irrelevant. But I mean, the whole experience was the attention of the media got so extensive that I just felt like I wanted to go to Australia. I wanted to move away as far as I could.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's what
and
I
then
did.
You ended up with who with the Rat Pack?
Oh mate, like
we had. Do you remember who did we have on? We had James O'Connor was on. Curly Beale.
I know what I'll do.
Franklin.
I'll get all the way to the other side and I'll be all right.